Hi guys, welcome to the Journey podcast. I've got Rebecca with me today. How are you doing, Rebecca? You alright?
Very well, thank
Very
you.
well. Very well. Yeah, so just for those that don't know who Rebecca is, obviously talk us a little bit about your history with the netball, Rebecca.
Yeah, so netball's been a massive part of my life since I was probably primary 7, which is like 11 or 12.
Right.
Started playing at primary school, then went on to play for the first club in Helensburgh called G84, and then from there progressed into the national setup, played under 17s, got my first cap when I was 15 for under 17s, then managed to get into the under 23 squad at like the age of 15, played there, and then got my first national / senior cap when I was 21. So
that's some CV front, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's some good CV in right there.
Yeah, done a lot of travelling with it and things as well, which has been pretty cool. So yeah.
How did you get involved with it in the first place then? Because it's like, you know, when I was in school, I mind, for me it was either football or rugby, that or cross country. That was pretty much the option. So there wasn't really much option at school. So how did you get into the netball scene?
There was a netball club at the school, and when I was younger I was the kind of kid that was just, you know, doing swimming, tennis, netball, hockey, like everything you possibly could do, and went along to the netball club, and I had two coaches, Stephanie Hart and Laura Johnson, who were really passionate about it.
Shout out.
And they were fab with me. They could see that I had a passion for it and that, you know, I was determined and pretty competitive, which I still am. And then we played in a tournament. They have a Christian Aid tournament every year.
Right.
I have a funny memory that I was wearing a score and nobody told me that you should wear shorts underneath the score, and my score broke. That's what everyone remembers as my first netball memory. And then from there I just found a love for it, I guess, and when I progressed into the senior school, and there you have summer terms and winter terms, and netball was a big part there, and I just suddenly was like, oh, I think I'm actually quite good at this. And just stuck at it, and then got into a more competitive scene of it and got programs given to me, and that's where I am now.
Fair enough. I think it's interesting because there'll be lots of guys and girls in school or whatever that their parents might be watching this, or they might be watching this as well, and it's the getting involved with these kind of things and how it's set you up for other parts of your life as well. So it's because obviously you went to university as well, didn't you?
Yeah.
What was it you studied?
I did an undergraduate in psychology with sports sciences, and then did my master's in international relations.
There you go.
So I've got quite a variety. I think at school, because I was so passionate about sport and everything, I kind of had the mentality of that's all I want to do in life. And then went to uni and studied that, and although I enjoyed it, I was kind of like, this is like every part of my life now that is just kind of sport orientated, and then went on to study international relations, which still involves sport, because I kind of I did my dissertation, which was revolved around human rights in sport, so it's still, you know, I've got that kind of layover in that kind of way, but yeah. That's
interesting. I think it's one of these things, because obviously you played at you're playing at the highest level, but when you're in uni, obviously you played at a high level as well, and you having to manage that around the uni work that you're having to do. Talk us a little bit about that. How did you manage to juggle the two?
Oh man. I think it's just like time management is like massive for you. So it's kind of, well, I'd say time management is a big one, and it's also like being organised is your second one. So not just looking a day ahead, looking like a week ahead, rather than just going day by day, because I feel like sometimes you get into bad habits where you'd go day by day and you'd figure out that actually like, I'm just eating rubbish because you've done it day by day, rather than you could look a week ahead, and on a Sunday you could be like, right, I need to make meals for this, this and this. I think being open and honest with yourself and your family, so not just keeping everything that's going on in your life to yourself, and actually saying to people, well, this is what I've got going on, and hopefully you have family and friends that understand how busy you are and they'll help you out. So sometimes shout out to mum, she would
I'm just gonna mix that brightness a little bit on the screen because it's a little bit bright. There we go. Lovely. Yeah, I know. Now we can see it. There we go. But yeah, it's so your mum was a big part to play.
Massively, yeah. Even though I went to uni down in England, she would do a lot of work down in Newcastle, Durham area. So she would come down and be like, "Do you need me to pick anything up? Is there anything you need?" And then I'd get food from Marks and Spencer's rather than Asda, which is always a bonus.
There's a big difference between smart price Asda.
Yeah, and just like, I think another thing, especially at uni, it's doing what's right for you, not what's right for others. So there's those pressures of, you know, socialising, and a lot at uni is going out, having late nights. But as an athlete and as a student, you have to remember that actually what are you prioritising? Why are you doing this? You know, and if they're your real friends, they'll understand that you won't want to go out for a late night or you don't want to drink. So
I think that translates into a lot of people's lives. Obviously, people that at uni got jobs, and at the same time, you know, they've all sorts of things on and trying to manage it. I think people can relate to that quite a lot. What you're saying with managing, you know, prioritising the sport, prioritising what you're trying to do at uni, and then it's like, you know, if you can, then enjoy yourself with a social aspect as well. But don't forget why you're doing something, if that makes sense.
Yeah, definitely.
So what's the there has to be some sort of, I've always found anyway with anything that I've taken on sport wise, it's like there has to be some sort of drive for that thing. It's I will do this thing, and I won't let these other things interrupt that thing until that thing's done. And then I can start focusing on this and this, and then when it's time to go again, then I'll go again, kind of thing. So talk us a little bit about how you manage to like sit down and figure out how your week's gonna look then.
It's pretty simple. It's just like, you know, being organised and sitting down with your diary probably on a Saturday or Sunday and putting in absolutely everything that you've got to do that week and how it's going to look, so you know what's coming up. So it's not as if you're like looking at your diary on that day and like, oh, I've got this to do. And I think now I'm like, I don't know how to answer that because it comes to me like second nature. It's not hard for me. So, but it's just, you know, if I always feel like if you want something badly, you'll make it happen and you'll make it fit in. And it's just about, communicating with others. So with your job and, you know, with your coaches, and say, well, actually that time's not going to work with me because you've left it too late. I could do this time. And it's just about being open and honest with yourself, but also like it is, if you want to do something, you will make it work, you know. So getting up earlier, going to bed a wee bit later, you know.
So I 100% agree. Like when you do something for long enough, it becomes habit and routine, and it's normal. But there's lots of people that's not part of their life just now. So the training side of things, the nutrition side of things, it's not necessarily part of their life just yet. But they want it to be because they've got a goal of what they want to achieve physically. So what would be your advice to the people that are trying to get started in these things, trying to get started on setting these weekly or planning out their week and planning out this thing? Is it a case of not getting beat up when it's like if something goes not according to plan, not beating yourself up about that and finding another time for it, or trying to seek help from other places, or what would your advice be for that?
Got 2 bits of advice. Well, when I started, I remember I had a coach from my district in Glasgow, and because I was travelling a lot from Helensburgh, I was travelling like 6 days a week up to Glasgow, and I wasn't being able to fit everything in, and she said, like, sit down with a piece of paper from 6 a.m. in the morning until 10 p.m. at night and break it down into half hours, fill in what needs to be done, and then have things that are in second line, then third and fourth, and so you can see exactly what you need to do. So rather than just having Monday weight session, work from 6 till 10, sit down and actually see where you've got that free time that you can fit things in. So if it's someone that has work from say 9 till 5, but they're travelling from 7:30 till 8, they put 7:30 till 8 travelling. So then they can actually see, oh, actually I'm free from 6 till 7, so why am I not going to the gym then? Second bit of advice is speak to somebody that you know that can do that already, because they can give their advice, because everyone's advice is going to be different. So how I do it would be different to how you do it. And they'll be able to just help you out, because I always think, you know, a problem shared is a problem solved.
Yeah.
And, you know, sometimes you're like, in your head you're like, I've got so much to do, I can't do all of this. But then when you sit down and you talk to someone about it, that's it solved, because, you know, you're talking about it and sharing how you're feeling. Yeah, that's what I would advise.
That's pretty nice. Man, I like that. I think, yeah, it's so true, and it probably does come second nature to you, and to anybody that's playing at your level of any kind of sport, it probably resonates. But I think for normal people as well, just trying to figure out what they're trying to achieve and the goals of that, and then trying to lay out their plan. It's so important, but it's like you just physically need to start. You need to sit at some point and get that piece of paper and figure out what the hell's going on and how you're going to plan out your week.
Yeah.
But I think I had no idea how hard a game of netball actually was until I watched, like you were showing us a YouTube clip of how fast paced a netball game actually is. So there's a hell of a lot of work that goes into that. So just gives a little spiel about the sort of stuff that you do to be where you're at.
Yeah. So like a weekly kind of thing.
Yeah, a weekly thing, yeah.
So usually it's a Monday, wake up about 5, and then I'm up to Glasgow for an hour's speed and agility session, and then I run back to the train and I'm in work from 10, and then I'm at work till 4, back up on the train for training from either 6 till 8 or 8 till 10, and that's a court session, so that's more team based, but that can be anything from ball work to fitness to whatever the coach. It usually depends how she's feeling that evening. And then Tuesday,
we're not going to call you out on here. Just saying.
Tuesdays are they're like our conditioning sessions, so they're 2 hours long, and that's usually ball conditioning. So we're just getting hands on the ball as well. So it's some of it's just running, but you'll also have conditioning with the ball. So massive for us is just having contact with the ball each day, because that's the most important thing. The ball. Wednesdays are like my days that I live for, because I don't have to travel, and B, I only have a weight session and a ball work session to do, so that's usually only 90 minutes, so that's a pretty nice day. Thursdays they're more court specific, so it's teams again, so we're back in on court for 2 hours, and we have a ball work session as well. Fridays again, speed and agility in the mornings, and then weights in the afternoon or evening, and then Saturdays and Sundays are our game day. But obviously like those kind of weeks change, but usually it's 3 weight sessions a week, 2 or 3 speed and agility, depending on what your goals are. So if you're focusing on trying to get like quicker, or you're focusing on becoming stronger, or if you're focusing on becoming fitter, depends on how many sessions you have. So
and do they kind of lay that out for you?
Yeah. So we have a conditioning coach and a strength and conditioning coach, and then our actual netball coaches, and they kind of say to us like, this is what we would like you to work on, does that link up with what you do? It usually does. So at the moment mine's conditioning, so as you know, that's what I've been working on. And so at the moment I'm doing 2 to 3 sessions of that a day, along with one speed and a week, and then one speed and agility, just to keep on top of that. So it's pretty intense, but when I'm not busy I go crazy, because I'm like, what do I do?
What do you do with your time? I think it's mental, because it's such a, well, you heard there, it's such a packed out week of the stuff that you need to get in on a weekly basis around work and everything else. So I think it gives probably quite a lot of people out there hope that you can fit it in around having a job and doing other things as well. So it's like, how do you find it with, well, obviously you work here, but with being a coach now, how did, like, what made you decide to become a fitness coach? Was it more you were already involved in fitness in the first place and it made sense to translate that into this, or how did you get to that?
I think there's a number of reasons why I am where I am at the minute. I think from being here previously as a member, it was a great gym that I just loved the idea of it, but also the work works with my other like passion. So I have a passion for netball obviously, and I need to have a job that works with that, and you guys are so accommodating with that and supportive. But it's also you guys have that understanding that, you know, I can come in on a Monday and be in a pretty foul mood, and you guys as coaches can see that, but then when I'm on the floor, you know, it's that kind of, you put a face on and you're completely fine, and it's that, you know, you are going to be tired, and understanding that, oh, she has already trained today, so she's going to be pretty shattered. But I think there's loads of jobs out there that do that. I think I also enjoy giving back in a sense, so I've always said to, you know, people, if they've asked for coaching, you know, for netball and things, that yeah, absolutely, I'll do that, because, you know, I'm at the highest level, but also there's so many coaches behind me that have been able to give me something, and I remember them all, I think, and being in here feels to me like I'm giving back to people. So, you know, this gym's helped me, and although you guys are now paying me, I feel like I'm giving back and I'm helping, and I quite like that idea of being able to help others that are trying to hit their goals, even though they're different. So that's a nice part.
So one thing that, like, the only reason I do what I do, and I've been doing it for so long now, is that I enjoy helping.
Yeah,
it's like I feel such a sense of achievement of, you've achieved something. You know, I've taught you something, and you've taken that away, and you've become a better person because of it. That for me is priceless, and it always will be. I mean, there's with any job and any business, there's going to be stresses. There's going to be stuff that gets chucked your way that you don't really like. Yeah. But at the same time, the core job itself for me is that'll never leave me. I mean, I couldn't imagine doing anything different. Fitness has always been part of what I do, and it's always been part of my life. So being able to help other people through that, I massively resonate with that. I
think a big thing for me is that because I've been fortunate enough and I've worked hard enough to have the results at the highest level, being able to see other people achieve that, live a more normal life, and they just come to the gym for their own health, but actually seeing them achieve is just, it actually just like fills you with joy a wee bit, and you're like, gosh, I've helped them along their way to their goals, which is completely different to mine, but it's that giving back. I totally agree.
Massively, and I think it's nice when the person appreciates that as well. It's the you know, thank you for that. Those little thank yous for a coach anyway go a long way, and I get that massively. But it's interesting because you're talking a lot about the amount of training that you have to put in on a weekly basis, and for me that's, you know, I do that. You see, I do that all the time. But it's for a normal person and trying to achieve something and trying to get somewhere, that might seem like a hell of a lot of work that they would have to put in. So what, like, because you probably didn't start off by doing 9 sessions like in a row or whatever, and barely sleeping and trying to fit a job around it. So how did you manage to juggle all these things together and get used to that as well over time?
Don't jump with 2 feet in, you know, start by, you know, going for your 3 PTs and 1 circuits a week, and then slowly progress that to more and more, and each week will always be different, so you never know what to expect in a sense. But kind of like, it's a tough one because some people will just be able to just do it in a click of the fingers, but then other people, it's like slow and steady wins the race. So starting with a few sessions and then working up to a few more, and then that will slowly go up and down because that's life, isn't it? But you know, when I was younger, I probably was just like train because that's what I knew to do, and that was probably a bad thing because I was training too much at that age. But now I know my body and I know how it works, and I know when I'm tired, I'm like, I need to like the other day you were like, that's too light, and I was like, Joe, I'm knackered. But it's just about understanding where you're at in that moment of time. And so like with that, I started off with like just the training, and as I got a wee bit older, it was more about the nutrition because I was at uni, I was cooking for myself, so I didn't have, you know, my meals made for me. It was like, okay, I'm going to have to eat healthily here, and it's just adding on. So I think I spoke to Paul about, well, I heard Paul speaking to somebody about it, and breaking it down, so having a healthy breakfast for 7 days and then trying to have a healthy breakfast and a healthy snack, and kind of adding things on as they come, rather than just jumping in with healthy nutrition, as many sessions as you can. That's how I
think that's like that hits it right on the spot, because it's when you've got the fitness, you're saying add it over time, and it's the same with the nutrition. You start with a healthy this and you add to a healthy this and a healthy this and a healthy, and eventually it becomes a healthy all of it. But it's the learning process of that, and I think you can never get around that learning process, fitness wise or nutrition wise. It's like you learn by doing. If you don't turn up and try, then how are you ever going to know? So I think it's the same with me. Like, you know, I started training when I was about 6, you know, me and my brother watching Rocky and doing weird exercises and all sorts of stuff. But that's the truth of it. And it's like, over time we learned the right ways of doing the right things. And eventually it's like, you know, now able to go and do this and being able to go and do that. And how do you find that?
I think, well, I completely agree with that. I was just going to add on from it as well, that not one thing works for everybody. So it's understanding that because someone's coming in and they're doing, say, you know, two sessions a day, so they come in the morning, do their PT and come back for a class, like that's not going to work for everyone, because, you know, your life can be completely different to somebody else's, in the sense that you could work in Glasgow and they just work at home, so they're able to do that. But it's like finding out what works for you, and that is a learning process. So, you know, as you say, you start off with something and you're like, that's not working for me, try something else, don't just give up. And it's that understanding that because one thing doesn't work for you doesn't mean that something else isn't going to work for you as well. So it's just trying to find that balance, because, you know, it's like that life-work balance as well. It's, you know, coming to the gym should be life, not something that you like are like, I have to do that. It should be a want. So it's also trying to find that, how that fits in to make it be a want rather than a have to.
I think it's obviously you can't just turn up and just expect to be wherever. I think there's a lot of stuff, and social media probably doesn't help with a lot of the stuff that goes out, but YouTube as well. Guys and girls that are putting out videos of 6-minute ab routine and 10-minute ab routine, and, you know, doing a bit of exercise here, there, and everywhere is obviously going to be better than doing nothing. That's fair enough, but equally, there is no such thing as you did 6 minutes of an ab routine, suddenly you've got a six-pack. It doesn't happen that way. So trying to get results that fast, it just doesn't happen in reality. In reality, it's a process that takes time, and I think there's so many different methods out there, like for getting speed, for example, right? So getting faster and trying to make you faster at your given sport is going to be different to getting you faster at a different sport. So, you know, you're not a Formula 1 driver, so how do I get a Formula 1 driver to go faster around a track? It's still a sport, it still requires a certain level of the physical and the mental side, but it's different to what you do. So there's different ways of getting that speed in there. So the methods have to change, but the principles remain the same, and principles will always remain the same. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So the whole 6-minute ab routine, like, personally I hate it and I can't stand it, and I can't stand when I see these things. So when people, like, you'll get this now because you're a coach, and you'll get the same-ish sort of questions of how do I achieve this result by this time, and it's like not getting beat up by you didn't achieve that right this moment, but you will. Over time you will achieve what you want to achieve. So when you get somebody in and you get them on the in-body scanner and maybe the results have gone the wrong way, how do you deal with that now?
I think as a coach, it's just like understanding where that person is at on that day as well. So it's more trying to... I think I'm still learning about that one, but it's like trying to read where they're at, how they feel about that, you know. So it's like, that's maybe not a big result that they wanted, but, you know, it's trying to ask them in the nicest way. So why do you think you've not achieved your goal? And usually that person knows. You just have to squeeze it out of them, because, you know, they don't really want to tell you.
That's gone really dark. Let me just whack that brightness back up there, guys. Sorry about that. Just going to turn the brightness back up.
There we go. That's fine.
There we are. Lovely, lovely. But yeah, the reason I'm trying to steer the conversation that way is because obviously there's, you can't. You didn't become who you are today overnight.
No.
Right, and it took however many years, right? So it took all this time to get you to where you are now, as an athlete and as a person. So when people are coming to you with these kind of results, with these kind of goals, and then maybe not achieving them as quickly as they had in their head, it's like, how do you try and translate that from what your experience is to that person?
I think it's just about, I usually use my own experience as well when I'm talking to clients about if they've not achieved what they want to, and just reiterating that, these things won't happen overnight, and it's about committing to what you want as well. And it's more, it's a really tough question.
I know it is. It's the one where
I think if it was like, I'm trying to look at it as if it was myself, because I have been in that position where I've not made the results, and it's like trying to look at it from a positive outlook rather than looking at it negatively, like, oh, that piece of paper is not telling me what I'm doing. Because I think in that moment, because they come in for the in-body scan, and there's very minimal people that are like, yay, body scan, let's see what happens. But I'm usually like, well, why are we focusing on just this piece of paper? Like, from the last time you were here, how many sessions have you done? What have you achieved? Have you been able to lift more weight than what you have done? And trying to look at the bigger picture rather than just what your body's saying, because realistically those numbers, yes, they do matter, and I'm not saying that they don't, but also looking at what else you've achieved, but also looking at what else you've had to deal with in that time. So, yes, when you come in here, you've only got this to worry about. Like, I have clients come in here and they're like, I just love it in here because when I'm in here, it's all I have to do. But then when they come on the body scan, they forget that actually they've got all of this other stuff happening in their life as well. And it's like looking at it from that perspective rather than just a piece of paper. So although that's what you're there for, but it's also thinking about, why possibly haven't I achieved this? Because the body scan isn't just about what you've done in the gym, as you know, it's also about what everything else is going on in life. And yeah, when I've not achieved what I've done, which is been quite a few times, I've had tough times where I've not got what I've wanted, it's thinking, well, what have I not done? Or what can I do better? Maybe like thinking, well, I've been to all the sessions, but why have I not done this? And usually it's because I've not had a rest day or something, I've not done the recovery sessions, but they're as important as the sessions that I do. So it's just kind of, I always think it's good to sit down and write out what you have done and maybe what you could do better and things. Yeah,
because this is the thing, like I was saying, you won't have got from where you were when you were 10 to where you are now without having some pitfalls. Everyone has them, I think, we all have them, but it's not like it is in the films. It's not like The Pursuit of Happiness where everything's going wrong and then he works really hard and then everything's the best of luck. I mean, you work hard, eventually you get that result, but you're going to have to go through some crashes, There has to be some down to get that up, do you know what I mean? So it's like, if you don't quite achieve what you achieve or you wanted to achieve in the time you wanted to achieve it, there will be still opportunity for you to be better, to get better and keep moving forwards. That's the thing. Yeah. So what's the like with to try and translate that back into like the netball sense? So it's like, what sort of challenges have you faced? Obviously being at uni and all these kind of things, but what sort of the challenges that you've faced other than that?
I've had quite a few, if I'm honest. Couple of injuries here and there, but nothing in that sense. We had World Cup in Liverpool 2 years ago now, and I just missed out on selection on that, and that was really tough. I took that quite hard because it was my first kind of I was in the loop to be going, and there was a couple of injuries in the team, and then I was brought to the pre-World Cup camp, and I played against New Zealand there, and that was just amazing. I played against somebody that I massively look up to, and was just like this 20-year-old oh my god,
I'm here.
This is amazing. And then didn't get to go, and I struggled with that for like a good 6 months probably afterwards, and just that confidence level just didn't come back because I hadn't made my final goal, and I'd completely forgotten about everything that I'd done before that and what I'd achieved on that route. So it's about taking that time to actually sit down and be like, well, yeah, maybe I didn't, you might understand this as well, like you didn't achieve the final goal, but you've achieved so much up to that. So like, I played against Uganda, I played against New Zealand, I've played against Jamaica, England A, like all of these things, which, yeah, they might not be capped matches, but it, like, who else can really say that other than the 12 girls that were on the bench with me? And it's looking at it in that sense and sitting down. Yeah, it's the perspective, and you know, like I was really low, and I just was like, well, truthfully, was like, well, I'm rubbish at netball. Like I didn't get to where I wanted, but after I got some sports psychology help with that, it made me look at it from a different perspective. And not focusing on that and looking into the future. So looking at how you perceive other things and your other goals. So rather than, I don't know, so it's like, oh, I might make it. It's like, no, I will be there. Like I will be at the next Commonwealth Games, rather than saying like, yeah, I am in the long squad for that. It's actually being like, I will be there. So that has kind of answered it.
I get, 100%. You know, I get exactly what you're saying, because it is a matter of perspective, and you know, I've had those as well. We've all had those. I think anybody that's tackled certain goals in fitness is going to have these challenges where it's like you don't achieve what you wanted to achieve. Like last year, for example, trying to pull up 24-hour world record, 9 hours into it, my shoulder goes. You know, done 2,000 pull-ups, hands ripped to shreds, my shoulders falling out. It's like you for a good few days it was just miserable because I was in so much pain physically, but then the other stuff as well, because I hadn't achieved what I set out to achieve. But then, you know, you come back, you get back to reality, and you figure out, no, well, let's just chill out a second here. There's a reason why that never went my way, because I did this wrong, didn't do that quite right, and I should have done this. So set another goal, train it, and learn from the lessons of what you didn't do right. And I think that translates probably to a lot of guys and girls out there, where it's like, right, so I haven't achieved the body stat goal that I wanted. Maybe I haven't achieved the before and after pictures that I was after. But what did I do wrong? Or what did I not do quite right to get where I wanted to be? Analyse that a little bit further. It's like, right, no, I was doing the training, I did all the training side of it, but I wasn't doing this and I wasn't doing that. So now I'm going to try and do these two things on top of that and move forwards. As long as you're moving forwards, that's the key to it. I think David Goggins talks about it. I was listening to a podcast of him the other day, and it was talking about this doesn't end. It doesn't end. Why would it end? There's no, if you get to a point where it's like, oh, if I finish this, I'm going to be comfortable, I'm going to be happy. It's like, no, what's the next thing? What's the next thing after that? It's a lifestyle, isn't it? It's 100%. Yeah, and just like adding on from that, like with that, it's also good to talk about it, I think, as well. I remember when it all happened and I was training in here, and I remember coming in and I saw you and you said, did you make it? And I was like, no, I'm the 13th player of a 12-man team. Completely broke down. And then I spoke to Steve about it and was mentioning Steve while I was at the training camp, and just like telling someone how you feel about it rather than holding it all in really helps as well. And it's just that coping with it as well, and knowing that, you know, someone maybe hasn't been through the same thing as you, but has been through something similar to you. So like, I know that your pull-up challenge is quite similar to what I've done in a different kind of sense, but knowing that someone's way of dealing with it, they could actually help you as well. They could be like, this is how I did it, you know. So it's like opening up about that. 100%. And like, that's with the body stats as well, and seeing what other clients are doing, you know, and that can be helpful too. So yeah, massively. I think there's massive translation over from any physical feat, athletics, netball, whatever the sport is. You know, there's massive translation from that to normal life. It's, you know, there's challenges you have to face and you have to overcome them. I think one thing that I massively learned when I did the dips over the week just gone there, was how important, like you're saying there, having people around you and being able to bounce off of that. Because when that was a thing that I definitely got wrong mindset wise going into the pull-up world record, was not being too focused on where I'm at right in this moment. It's like, if I haven't got somebody there to be able to bounce back off of, and how important the family side of it, how important friends are, that people can get you through a lot of stuff. People can always get you through a lot of stuff, and it's like the magic of who we are as human beings. It's like we're a sociable creature, so that's what we're designed to do. So whenever we get so bogged down in who we are and what we're trying to do, it's like, if you just opened up a little bit, you have no idea how easy you could make this for yourself. It's unbelievable. But yeah, I appreciate that. I get what you're saying with that, and I think a lot of guys and girls will appreciate that as well. But we'll have to call this here, Rebecca. But it's been lovely talking to you, and guys and girls, we'll see you again for another podcast in the future. Take care.